Shalom, all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, Ba'Shem Rakak Wadash. My name is Jacobo from PLAINTABLES Camp in Philly. And the camp leader, the Bach, gave me this article, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday. And the elder Apostle Tahar did a video on it, so I'm just following up on our ministry, because we are the biblical Israelites. Now, the Christians, whether they claim to be Gentiles or black or white or Hispanic or whatever, they don't have the truth. All right, you have to have certain qualifications to be a Hebrew Israelite, meaning to teach this word. All right, first you have to be a Hebrew Israelite, meaning you have to descend from the loins of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, so it doesn't matter what woman that seed laid down with or impregnated, that seed spiritually is still an Israelite. Now, biologically, they would be mixed, but not spiritually, because the Lord Yahweh Shai, He puts the spirit in the seed, and Abraham's children proved that, because Abraham gave birth to Isaac, and he also gave birth to Ishmael, both coming out of Abraham's loins. So Yahweh Shai puts that spirit in that seed. All right. So after that instance, everybody that was produced of Isaac and Jacob were all Israelites from those men's loins. But before that, Yahweh Shai could decide which nation you were, and Abraham proves that. All right, and that's one of the Jacob also. Slakia, I forgot about Jacob and Esau. That was the actual last time it was recorded in the scriptures where another nation came out of the same man's loins, Jacob and Esau. All right. So we got through that. Now we got the book of Revelation 11:1. First thing I said was, we are the Hebrew Israelites. We are the biblical Israelites. All right. Now, how do we know that we're the Israelites? Because we're under the curses, like the elder mentioned in Deuteronomy 28th chapter. We're under the curses. All right. That's important. That's not something that should be taken lightly. The curses that the Israelites went through. All right. Now, you look at Revelation 11:1. And there was given to me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of the Most High, and the altar, and them that worship therein. And when you look up measure, it means to be judged by a certain standard. All right. According to a rule of standard estimate. All right. It's not saying to measure the dimensions of a building. All right. Now, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, we hold ourselves to a high standard, because we say we believe that Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai is working through us to deliver this word the right way. 100% truth is what we always say we have. 100% truth. All right. So there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angels stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of the power, and the altar, and them that worship therein. So he's judging whether or not the ministry is right or wrong. Is it righteous? Is work being properly done? I know it says it was given into John. It says given into me. All right, that's referring to John the Revelator, that was in prison on the island of Patmos. All right, it says, Rise and measure the temple and the altar, and them that worship therein. And we definitely worship. All right, we take this, we present our bodies as a living sacrifice when we take Yahweh Shai's word and we perform those acts, like we had the book of the Acts of the Apostles. All right, because we actually perform actual work just like the apostles did. All right, and we're going to get that spiritual power on that same level and greater that the apostles had. Right now, we just have this word is our spiritual power. All right. But best believe very soon we're going to be able to lay our hands on someone and instantly they're going to recover, making hands whole, making hands reappear, making brothers receive their eyesight back, curing them from so-called incurable diseases. We're going to have that power also. All right. So it says, rise and measure the temple of the Most High and the altar and them that worship therein. All right. But the court, which is without the temple, leave out and measure it not, for it is given into the Gentiles. And this, in this respect, is referring to the actual Gentiles, not the Israelite foreigners. All right. Or not the Israelite Gentiles, meaning the Israelites, they're being called Gentiles by the circumcision. All right. And the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,203 days clothed in sackcloth. Another very, very important point. All right. The 2 witnesses are referring to the kingdoms of Israel and the kingdoms of Judah. All right. And they shall prophesy. All right. Say that a specific thing will happen in the future. All right. 1,203 days clothed in sackcloth. All right. So that's from when notably Abba Bibbins, that the elders always speak about, till whenever Yahushua makes his debut. All right. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. All right. And with no doubt, the olive tree represents the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel, with no doubt. All right. We have Jeremiah 11 and 13. Now, the reason why the Israelites became Gentiles, meaning they became uncircumcised, both physically and spiritually, was because of idol worship. That's the main thing. Idol worship. That's pretty much virtually 100% reason why the Lord beat the shit out of us and put us in slavery, was because of idol worship. All right. 11 and 13, Jeremiah, for according to the number of the cities were thy gods, O Judah, and according to the number of the streets of Jerusalem had they set up altars to that shameful thing, even altars to burn incense unto Baal. So when Yahushua looked at that, Yahushua hadn't been revealed yet. This was complete and utter. This is pure adultery. All right. Therefore, pray not for this people, neither lift up a cry or prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me before the trouble. And that's why you see brothers in the camp, whatever camp they're in Great Millstone, at certain points we get fed up with our people because they're wild beasts. All right. Jeremiah had that spirit, and the Lord made him have that spirit. So at times, we'll try to work with certain people, but other times we just hate our people. Therefore, pray not thou for this people. They'll never read this in the church. Neither lift up a cry or prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their trouble. All right. So the point is, I'm reading this because this is going to prove that we are the Israelites, and the branches that were broken off are the Israelites that became uncircumcised, both in spirit and both in body, or vice versa. All right. Jeremiah 11:15. What hath my beloved to do in my house, seeing she hath wrought lewdness with many? All right, where the she? All right, where the woman? And the many is other gods, and lewdness is fornication, the adultery, worshiping the other gods, regarding their rites and their order and their ceremonies instead of Yahushua's order and ceremonies, which are high holy days. All right, seeing she hath wrought lewdness with many, and the holy flesh is passed from thee. when thou doest evil, then thou rejoicest. So Yahushua hates that. This is why we went into a mighty, the Lord said he delivered us into a mighty captivity. All right. Jeremiah 11:16. The Lord called thy name a green olive tree, fair and of a goodly fruit, that with goodly fruit, with the noise of a great tumult, he hath kindled a fire upon it, and the branches are broken. All right, so that's the tree where the branches fell off in Romans the 11th chapter. So you can look into that if you care to. Jeremiah 11:17. For the Lord of hosts hath planted thee, hath pronounced evil against thee, and broke those branches off that olive tree. For the evil of the house of Israel and of the house of Judah, the two witnesses. All right. 11:3 Revelation. And I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy. All right. This is a certain amount of time. Hopefully that time is coming to an end soon, because we hasten the day of Yahushua. That's next. For the evil of the house of Israel and of the house of Judah. All right, the two witnesses. Because these are the only nations on the planet that have the right. Whose right it is it's the Israelites' right to hold this gospel, to preach it. All right, the gospel is good news. Now, that's not good news for everyone. And something I noticed about our people are really stupid. Our people are very stupid, and they're not what you call it. They're not they lack reading comprehension. Our people they're really stupid. The scriptures say they soddest children, people that will not hear the law. Like, you explain simple things, simple concepts to them, and they can't get it. And we get mad, but it's Yahushua blinded them. So who Yahushua blinded, we can't make them see again. Like Yahushua said, if they didn't listen to Moses and the prophets, they ain't gonna listen to me. All right. For the evil of the house of Israel and the house of Judah. All right. These are the two witnesses. Same nation, but two different houses. All right. Which they have done against themselves to provoke me, and we sinned against our own souls. All right. To provoke me to anger and offering incense unto Baal. All right. And Yahweh hath given me knowledge of it, and I know it. Then thou showest me their doings. Yeah, so you can't try to pull shit on us. We know the evil of our own houses. All right. This is why we're so hard on you people. And Yahweh hath given me knowledge of it, and I know it. Then thou showest me their doings. Sometimes we might be kind, at certain points, depending on the situation. But look, we're in a time of life and death. We don't have time to be kissing you people's asses and being nice to you and saying you still got time to get it. Certain things, it takes time to understand these things. All right? And you better pray that you're one of the Lord's elect and you made a quick understanding. Oh, really? Slakia. Somebody I ain't heard from in a while. Yeah, get on that. And Yahweh hath given me knowledge of it, and I know it. I mean, look, if you guys can't get that, I mean, it's no hope for you. All right, these are the two olive trees. All right, it just proves that the olive trees are the Israelites. All right, one more scripture, and I'm gonna end the lesson. I've pretty much got my point. I'm proving that the Israelites are the olive trees. The two witnesses are the two houses of Israel, the kingdom of Israel, and the kingdom of Judah. All right. And it extends all the way to the Israelite foreigners. All right. And you can read the first verse to get the full understanding, but the point I'm harping on is this. Acts 10:34. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth, I perceive that the power is no respecter of persons, but in every nation he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him. The word of the power sent unto the children of Israel, preaching peace by Yahushua. He is Lord of all. All right. So, verse here it says, but in every nation he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him. Accepted with him. So we know by the books that an actual heathen, it is impossible for him to understand this word. It is virtually impossible for another nation to understand this word. Now, I foresaid that, yeah, you can be mixed biologically, but you cannot be, it is impossible for you to be mixed spiritually, because Yahushua puts the spirit in your seed, all right, to determine what nation you are, all right, and you declare your lineage by the house of your father, all right, that's not debatable, all right, but in every nation he that feareth him, our seed was scattered throughout all nations. This is why Peter made this statement, because Peter was already had the mindset, because he grew up in the that time period where the houses of Israel were divided between the circumcision and the uncircumcision. Like we're divided right now between the brothers that are in the truth and the brothers that are out the truth. We're circumcised, and those people outside they're uncircumcised. So we're saying the same thing Peter's saying. But in every nation, he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with them. So if you're doing the work righteously, you actually doing the work. Esau can't do this work, right? It is impossible for Esau to do this work. Now, let's say if he did, if he's not an Israelite, he's not going to be delivered. All right. This is why Peter made this statement, because this is a general rule. All right. But in every nation, he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with them. I don't see no purebred Edomites, all right, purebred Ishmaelites or Moabites preaching his word in the correct manner, all right, with authority, preaching the truth about the prophecies, the Jacob's trouble, the time, the day of darkness. I don't, where are they at? And if they were preaching, we'd be agreeing with them. We'd be friends. All right, we don't see them. All right, so don't pay too much attention to the outward appearance, because the flesh can be biologically mixed, but the spirit, it cannot. All right. Then it goes on to say, the word of the power sent unto the children of Israel, preaching peace by Yahushua HaMashiach. So he's alluding to the fact, or he's alluding to that Peter understands that Cornelius and his household, for the main part, are Israelites. Or else he wouldn't have completed it with this statement. All right. That further proves it. Even though we already know here that we already know Israel was scattered, just based on what the Acts of first chapter. And this just confirms it farther, that the word went out to the Israelites. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through. Let me come back to Revelation. I'll just end it here. Revelation 11:5. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Now, it is people might say that's an unfair statement. Like, wow, if you hurt one of the prophets, I deserve death for that. Well, look, I ain't make up the rules. All right. Some people think the Bible is stories. They're just stories. It's not history or actual prophecy. Well, look, when I say that, we'll see. If you believe that, you have the right to believe that, and I have the right to believe what I want to believe. I believe that the Bible is history and prophecy. All right, you can believe the Bible is stories if you want, just like stories. Like I guess like Dr. Seuss or Harlequin books, or we believe that this is history and prophecy. We got a decal, and we have if any man were hurt them, fire proceedeth out of the mouth. And devour their enemies, and if any man were hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Let's look over hurt. It says to act unjustly or wickedly, to sin. Yeah, there's no physical violence right there. Or it can be. It can be implied, or it can't be. It can be both. It can be physical violence or non-physical violence. To be a criminal, to have violated the laws in some way. Yeah, we tell you the truth about something, and you reject it. You deserve to be put to death. All right. Again, we didn't make up the rules. To do wrong, hurt. To do hurt, so that's physical. All right. So you come up laying your hands on one of the prophets, or saying you're going to do something, or considering our word to be like minutia. Very little value, nothing, a jot, a speckle, a speck. All right. To do something wrong or sin in some respect. If you think our word is that, the Lord's going to put you to death. You're going to be judged in a way where the penalty is going to be death. Judge means to part asunder, to make a decision on something. All right. To do wrong, to wrong someone, act wickedly toward him, he must in this manner be killed. To hurt, damage, harm. All right. So that's a powerful scripture, and that's the protection that Yahweh Shai has us under. The penalty of death, hurting the prophets. That's the penalty is death, and you've seen the ways you can hurt the prophets. So it would be in your best interest to be very gentle toward us. All right, and that's the power that we have, and we're going to receive that in greater proportions. All right. So that's the end of the lesson. Israel is the green olive tree. They were broken off. All right, and Peter went to go speak to them, the ones that were broken off, or some of them that were of the branches that were broken off, and they were sown right back in. All right, and from that day that Cornelius came back into the fold, the Lord already saved him. He just had to continue in the works. But spiritually, he's already saved. He's had to continue in the works. All right. So we are the actual biblical Hebrew Israelites, or we're the biblical Jews. All right. Now this group right here, they don't have the truth. They have the core facts, but even then, I'm sure they still go off in some instance. They still have the star rim fan on their clothes. They didn't evolve past that. But again, it's still good that they did it, because put people in fear. They know about us, and they're gonna think that we're all together. So I guess that's a bad thing. But it's good in the fact that they went out and presented themselves. But again, we don't have to do this. This is not required. You don't have to do this. You don't have to march on Capitol Hill to in protest. This is not what like the elder said. We don't have to. It's not required of us. All we have to do is preach the gospel. All right, and they're going to bring us before the. They're going to bring us before the different the police, the FBI, CIA, the Supreme Court, whatever system they had set up, a military tribunal, I don't know. They're gonna bring us up before those judges uh, unwillfully. So we have plenty of a matter to tell them, all right, according to the Lord's word. All right. So again, this is not required. Okay, this is not a. We don't have this spirit like that they have. We have a different spirit. All right. We don't encourage this type of behavior. All right. We get enough heat just being on the blocks that we're on. All right. So I hope you brothers were edified. To the next lesson. Shalom.